Frank, what do you hope happens when you preach? Should a preacher attempt to persuade the listener in some way or provide an experience? What do you hope happens?
Well, there are various ways to look at it. One thing you want to do in the sermon is have people revisit their own experiences, because they may have overlooked experiences with God and didn't have any word for it except coincidence or something like that. You might help them revisit their own lives. I don't think of experience as just the preacher examining his or her own heart and saying things about it, too autobiographical, although there's room for some of that. But for the listener's experience, for me to know you as the listener, your social and economic location, your vocation, your family situation, the way you earn your money. If I know you, I know where your appetites are. If I am of the gospel, more or less, if I believe that, then I can say something that will connect with your present or past experience and open the door to your trusting there may be something in the future. Faith can move into hope at that point. So I'm not thinking of experience as trumping tradition. I believe strongly in the historic content of the faith. But there are places where it makes contact with your life. Otherwise, we're in the museum.
Is there a fundamental message that the preacher should continually try to share in their sermons?
Well, I think most preachers have really one sermon, one message, and everything is a spin-off or variation of that. The message I would say that's central is the grace of God. But grace can be said too easily. Some people preach grace to the point that there is really no justice or no merit or no work or no activity or no challenge. It's just kind of slimy, easy, and cheap. We have to remember, like in Stories of the Prodigal Son, there was an older brother who had a real good point. I've been here working all the time he was gone. The father had two sons. He loved both sons. He went out to both sons. But it's so easy just to kill off the older brother and wallow in the grace of the party for the prodigal that came home. There is tension in grace. There's tension, it seems to me, in the very nature of God. Shall I come down on the judgment of this evil, or shall I break the syllogism and forgive the person? All sinners are punished. Jim is a sinner. Jim is forgiven. You might fracture the syllogism, but you have to have some structure of justice. Otherwise, grace is just melted ice cream,
How would you suggest preachers improve their delivery skills? That seems to be one of the issues that many preachers have. They may have great content, they may have the message that they want to get across, but the delivery skills are a little loose. What can they do to improve that?
We've suffered a loss in the church in that candidates for ministry go to seminary and have never had a speech course. And they may have a marvelous message, but they stand there counting their shoelaces and mumble, and nobody hears it. There are several things can be done. Is get a few sessions with a voiced speaker, a teacher. Have some sessions with someone who reads well publicly, knows how to get you to lift the face and lift the voice, and not be timid about being heard. Always examine the equipment in the sanctuary to make sure it's working. You don't want to fight the furniture, you don't want to fight the microphone. You want it to be in good order so that no calories are burned wondering what's the matter with this. But just to feel strongly, to know what you're talking about and be persuaded it's important, you're going to lift up your voice. Some of the timidity is a sort of capitulation of authority or the right to say anything in the room. So I whimper and whine around and make a few suggestions. I think part of the lack of delivery is in the lack of conviction and passion and knowing the subject for the day. No matter who walks in, archbishops or whatever, walks into the room, on that text, on that subject, on that day, you know more than anybody in the house. So turn it loose. It lies somewhere other than in just the throat or the eyes. But some training in that would be very, very important.